Did they reach 6 now?
Did they come now?
Yeah, they're coming to stay. It's probably
If Seth is using now, please slowly. So if you can stop
Maybe she was having like a home.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Sri Guror Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindha Deenabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayine Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratas Charte subhigya swarat Tene brahma hridaya adhikavaye Muhyanteyat suraya Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo Yatra trisargo mrisha Dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam Satyam param dhimahi Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiret. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, chapter number 24, beginning from verse number 1. So we've been reading the history of Prithu Maharaj, and we read how he performed 99 Aswamedha or sacrifices. And Lord appeared in the sacrificial area and gave boon to Prithu Maharaj. And then Prithu ruled and gave very nice instructions to his subjects. And after that, when he realized that he is getting old, he left for forest and led the life of a Vanaprastha, performing very intense, severe penances. And finally he gave up his body through the yogic process. And then his wife performed sati, and they both went to Vaikuntha. So that's what we read in all the benedictions of different types, hearing the story of Prithu Maharaj. Now in this chapter we will hear about the grandson of Prithu, Prachin Barhi. In the next few chapters we will talk about his story. Maitreya Uvacha, Sri Maitreya said, Vijitaswadhiraja asit Prithu putra Prithu Shravaha Yavibhyo dadat kashtha Bhratribhyo Bhratrivatsalaha. Vijitaswa was the eldest son of Prithu Maharaj, and Prithu made him the successor. So he became Adhiraja, and son of Prithu, he was also famous like Prithu. Prithu Shrava means famous like Prithu, or it could mean he had great fame, because the word Prithu also means vast or great. He was very affectionate towards his brothers. Although he was the king, but he divided his kingdom into 5 parts, because there are 5 brothers, and he gave to each brother one direction to rule. Adat kashta bhratribhyo bhratribhyo. So this way he reduced the burden of management, because he was not very much inclined for doing all this management. Haryakshadat prachim dhumrakesasya dakshinam pratichim brakashamyaya suturyadramidashe vibhuhu. So he gave the eastern direction to his brother, whose name was Haryaksha, and southern direction to Dhumrakes, western to Vrika, and the 4th, that is north direction, to Turiya, and he was in the center himself. So this way there is satisfaction for every brother. They don't have to feel. Sometimes there may be envy that he is ruling and we are just sidekicks. So now everybody was happy. Antardhan gatim shakrat labdhvantardhan sangitah apatyatraya madhatte shakandinyam susammatam. One of his name was Antardhan, because he has also got this art of disappearing or becoming invisible from Indra. When Indra came to steal the horse and Vijitasva was chasing him, then Vijitasva did not kill him. He could have killed him, because Indra was running and he was chasing. He could have shot arrows at him and finished him. So he did not do that, and Indra was very happy. And these devas, they have a habit, it's their nature, that anyone who meets them, they want to give him something. They are very charitable, they have pride in giving. So he asked Vijitasva that you have spared my life and anyway you got my darshan, although I was invisible, so what do you want from me? So he says, I have everything. You can see that I am a great hero, but this I don't know, how to become invisible. So you teach me this. So Indra taught him how to be invisible. And therefore he got one name as Antardhan. So now there is a lot of research going on in science to develop a cloth. If you wear that, then you can become invisible. So they have attained some success in that. It will be interesting, especially for the criminals. They will love it. So he had 3 children from his wife, whose name was Shikhandini. Pavakaha Pavamanascha Suchiritya Agneya Pura Vasisht Sapad Utpanna Punar Yoga Gatim Gata. So from this Shikhandini, he had 3 sons, whose name were Pavakaha, Pavamana and Suchi. And these are all the 3 names of fire, Agni, Devata. Because when you do sacrifice, there are 3 types of fire: Agni Agni, Dakshina Agni and Garpatya Agni. When a brahmachari completes his education and Samavartam Samskar is done, then he comes home. And when he gets married, then this Garpatya Agni is lit at that time and it remains alive for the rest of the life of this person. This fire is actually supposed to be put in the body, dead body. So this is always in the house. Then it is called Garpatya Agni, and when the Agnihotra is done, then the fire is taken from that That is called Dakshinagni. Avani, you do Ahavan, and then you do the sacrifice. So these are three different names for these three forms of fire. And here it is said that by the curse of Vasishtha, they have to take birth as human beings. So they were born as three sons of Antardhan or Digitastra. But later on, Punar Yoga Gatin Gata, they attained their own natural position. So there is a story about them, that how they got this curse. Once a sacrifice was being performed, and there was this all the sages were there, 7 great sages, Saptarishi. And the Saptarishi's wives were also had come there. So fire god, he became very much attracted by the wives of these sages and became so much lusty that he wanted to have union with them. So when the wife of fire, whose name is Swaha, she understood this. So what she did, that she took the form of the wives of the sages, one by one. And then fire god, he united with his own wife, who was in the form of the sage's wife, Atri. And these sages were there, Pulha, Kratu, Pulaste and so on. But when it came time to take the form of the Vasishtha's wife, Arundhati, then she was not able to take the form, because Arundhati is very chaste and devoted to her husband. So Swaha was not able to take the form of Arundhati. And when she was struggling like this, then Vasishtha, he could understand what is going on. So he became very angry at fire, that you are actually trying to spoil the name of even my wife, who is so chaste, that your wife will take the form of my wife and then unite with you, and you will think that you have enjoyed my life, and thus sully the name of my chaste wife. So he cursed fire to come down and become a human being. And these devatas are very much scared to become human beings. Although yesterday's class we read that all the wives of these devas, they were glorifying human birth. Because in human birth one can become a devotee of the Lord. But really speaking, they themselves don't want to come down. So sometimes people glorify. If you are doing some, say, Goseva, then they will glorify you. How nice Prabhu you are doing this wonderful service. This is very pleasing to Krishna. But if you ask them, then can you also come and do some Goseva? Then they will walk away. So their glorification actually has no meaning. Because real glorification is that you also help, if you appreciate it so much. So that they cannot do. So these devas, they are always saying, Aho mi samti makari. That what these people here on earth have done, wonderful thing that they have taken birth as human beings. In India, especially Bharata Jive, India. But if you ask them that you come, then they are not willing to come down. So they were cursed. So this is a curse for them. If they become human beings, they think this is a curse. And now they have to be born because Vasishtha cursed them. But they attained back their original position. after the curse was over. So there is not so much commentary on these verses. Sri Vishnath says that Prithoho prapotrat prachin barhishoye prachetasaha chaturvinshe rudragitam tayapurti kirtate. In this 24th chapter, there is discussion about the sons of Prachin Barhi, who was the grandson of Prithu Maharaj. And Prachetas, they met Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva gave instructions to them, actually the prayers to please Lord Vishnu, which is called Rudra Gitam. So that will be described here in this chapter. Adhiraja Adhiraja Yaviyabhyo Svakanishtabhya. So Adhiraja means Adhiraja, the emperor, and Yaviyabhya means the younger brothers. He was very affectionate to them. Labdhva Pitur Asu Medhiye Asu Vijaya Avsare Tyartha Antardhan Nama. And he got this art or this power of becoming invisible in the sacrifice of his father when he had retrieved the horse from Indra. Yogagatim Agnitvam. They attained Yogagati, the fire, means they attained their original position as fire. So they were installed in their original form. Antardhano nabhasvatyam havirdhanam avindata yaindram asvahartaram vidvanapi na jagnivan. Antardhan had two wives. One was Sikhandini. She gave birth to these three sons, and the other wife's name was Nabhaswati, and she gave birth to Havirdhan. So Yaindram Asvahartaram Vidvanapi Najagnivan. So Antardhan, so this Vijitasva is glorified here, that although he had defeated Indra, who was stealing the horse, he did not kill him because he was a Vidwan. He was learned. He knew that this will be wrong to do that. Nabhasvatyam Anyasyam Bharyayam Yantardhana. So Nabhaswati was the name of another wife, and he got another son known as Havirdhan. Vidvanapi na Jagnivaniti Shakrad Antardhan Gati Labhe Karana. So instead of killing Indra, he got this power to become invisible. So that was his intelligence. What is the use of killing him? Ragyam Vrittim Kardana Danda Sulkadi Darunam Manyamano Dirgha Satra Vyajena Visasarjaha. So this Vijitasva, or who was also known as Antardhan, he did not have much interest in ruling. Must be very much influenced by his father. He was more interested in engaging in pure devotion instead of taking care of the management. But he was the king. If he does not do his duty, then he will be criticized. So he was very clever, because he thought that this Karadana Danda Sulkadi Dharanam, that this job of extracting tax from people and then punishing the criminals, says this is very horrible work. I don't want to do this. But how can I avoid it? So he thought of a solution. And solution was that he got initiated in doing a long sacrifice. Dirgha Satra. Satra can run for 12 years. So just as 12 years is considered as one tapa, doing sacrifice for 12 years is called Satra, so he took Diksha in that. And there is a rule, as you know, earlier we also read this, that when a person is initiated to do a sacrifice, then he is not supposed to do any violent act. He has to follow certain principles, not attacking anybody, not taking weapons, sleeping on the floor, simple diet. That's why when Indra was stealing the horse, Prithu was not chasing him, his son went, because Prithu could not take weapons and he went. So he thought that if I do that, then nobody can blame me that I am not taking care of the kingdom. So thus he says that Dirgha Satra Vyajena, on the pretext of doing his long sacrifice, he gave up all these duties. So now he does not have to charge taxes from people or punish them, because he was more interested in meditating on the Lord. Tatrapi hansam purusham paramatmanam atmadrik yajastalok tamapa kushalena samadhina. And there also his interest was also not in doing sacrifice. So he was actually meditating on the Lord, who is called here as Hamsa or Swan. And while performing sacrifice and meditating on the Lord, Paramatmanam Atmadrik, through Samadhi, Kusalena Samadhina, he attained the abode of the Lord. So then the rest of his life he spent like this. Yo antardhano ragyam vrittim visasarja. That king who was known as Antardhan, he gave up the job of a king. So basically he became Antardhan from his post, disappeared from the job of king. That's how he used this Antardhan. Kutaha, why is that? Kardana dibhir darunam manyavan. He thought that this job of taking tax from people, this is a horrible job. Atrapi dirgha satrepi karma kurvanapi. And in this sacrifice also, while engaging in this karma, which is called karma kanda, what he was doing, he was worshipping Lord Hansa Avatar. Hansa Avataram yajan tasya loke eva loko vasasthana yasya mrigayakshaniti vat samasa. So he attained the planet of the Lord. Tasya bhavatattatam hanti swanam kleshamiti hamsas tam purusham puna. So Lord is called Hamsa, which means a swan, and he gives a very nice etymological meaning to this. He says that Hanti Swanam Klesham iti Hamsa. Lord is called Hamsa because he destroys the sufferings of his devotees. It's like he is called Hari Harti Papani, because he takes away the sins of his devotees. It's called Hamsa in the same manner. So that means he became free from any sins in his life and attained Vakuntha. Havirdhani Vidura Suta Shat Sutan Barhi Sadam Gayam Shuklam Krishnam Satyam Jitabratam. His wife's name was Havirdhani. He was Havirdhan, and he had 6 sons from her. And these names were Barhishad, Gayam, Suklam, Krishnam, Satyam and Jitavrata. So the eldest name was Barhishad, then Gaya, Sukla, Krishna, Satya and Jitavrata. Barhisatsu Mahabhago Havirdhani Prajapati Kriyakandesu Nishnato Yogesu Cha Kurudvaha. And Barishat was very fortunate, the son of Havirdhan. he was the Prajapati, he was the controller or the ruler, and he was very expert in Karma Kanda. He was the master of Karma Kanda and also a great yogi. So these were two characteristics of Havirdhan, who is the son of this Vijitaswar Antardhan. Although his father was not so much inclined, but the son was very much into doing sacrifices. And also he was a yogi. Yasya idam deva yajnam anuyagyam vitanvataha prachinagrahi kurusharadi asid astritam vasudhatalam. So it is said that he did so many sacrifices, Deva Yajan, that the whole earth was covered by the kusa grass, because this kusa has to be spread facing, the roots have to face towards the east. And that's why he got the name Prachin Barhi, because Prachin means east and Barhi means kusa. Kusa is also called Barhi. Barhi is also name of fire. Kusa is also related with fire.
How do you spread towards east?
Yes. Actually, Prachin means west. Right? Prachin is west. Let's see.
Prak.
Yeah,
Prak is before.
Prak is east.
So Prachin is eastern direction, in easterly.
No,
Paschat is western.
Prachin.
Didn't you say Paschat?
yeah, Prachin is east.
Prak means before.
Yeah, Prak,
Prach.
Prancha.
Parach.
Prancha, Prachin. Yeah. Prachin is east. Arvachin is west.
It's west?
Parak.
Prak. Prachin.
Yeah, because in Hindi you say Paschat.
Yeah,
That's different.
Paschim.
That's Purva Paschat. And then
Yeah, this is east. So anyway, you have to keep the root of the kusa grass to the east or to the north. If you have a kusa asan and you sit, and the asan is made in the whole kusa grass, you have to uproot kusa with the roots, and then you make an asan with that, and you have to make sure that the roots are facing the east or to the north. And then this kusa is also spread in the sacrifice, and on top of that you keep the material, because kusa is supposed to be pure, and it is also insolent. It is called insulating. It insulates so that the energy will not flow down when you sit on it and you chant, then it stays. Yeah, it is east. The west is called Pratichi. Pratichi. Prachi and all this. So this many sacrifices he did. Yasya idam vasudhatalam kushair astritam achaditam asid. So the whole earth was covered by kusha. What is the meaning? Prithvivyam tadrisham sthalam nasid yatra tena yagya krito nasid. Says there was no place on earth where he has not performed sacrifice. So he was doing sacrifice, and when the fire was still on here, he could not continue another while, so he moved to the next spot and started there, and then moved to the next, and like this he performed sacrifice all around. So that's why his name became Prachin Barhi iti Uchyata iti bhava. Tatrapi anuyagyam pratyagyam eva devanam sarvesham eva yajvan vitanvata vistari mukhya kalpene karvata. Then there is a word here which says that deva yajanam anuyagyam vitanvata. That he did one yajna after another yajna. In yajna there is two type of kalpa. There is called mukhya kalpa and gauna kalpa. So mukhya kalpa means to do the sacrifice with all the complete process, not leaving any parts undone, following the whole process. Sometimes yajna is also performed not following everything, that is called anukalpa or gaun kalpa. And this is usually done when if you are doing a sacrifice and some mistake is done in that, then as a prashchitta, you don't have to do the whole thing again, but you do certain anukalpa. So here he says that he did this all mukhya kalpa, because in every yajna he was worshipping all the devas, which means that he was doing the primary sacrifice itself and not the secondary. Now comes another interesting story. Samudrim devoktam upyeme shatadrutim yam viksha charu sarvangi kishori sushtvalankratam parikramanti udvahe chakme agni sukimiva. He married the daughter of Ocean, whose name was Shatadruti, hundreds of streams. And this he did on the order of Lord Brahma. And this girl was so beautiful. Yam Viksha Charu Sarvangi. All his limbs were very beautiful. And she was very nicely decorated. And when he was getting married and the sacrifice was being performed, and she was walking around the fire, because you have to go around the fire along with the bridegroom. Parikramantim udvahe, udva means the marriage ceremony. Then fire god, again same problem as he had in the other sacrifice where the Saptarishis were there. So he says that Chakme Agni Sukimyo, that fire desired her as he has desired Suki. Suki is female parrot. So who is this female parrot? This is explained here in the commentary. Samudrasya kanyam devadevena brahmana apadishtam. So the daughter of Samudra, the ocean, on the order of Brahma was married to Prachina Barhi, or Barhisat was his original name. And Sukim Iva iti evam vyakhyate. He says, this is the story about what is the meaning like Suki or parrot. Maharshinam satre tad bharya darshnena agnihi kamartva abhut. That when these 7 great sages were performing sacrifices, then fire god, he became attracted to their wives and he was very much afflicted by lust. Tam cha tad bharya swaha nam saptarishi bharya roop dharani sati ramayamasa. And then his wife, she united with her own husband Agni by taking the form of the wives of the Saptarishis. Ramitva cha tadretah shuki rupena sarastambe nidhaya agachat. And after uniting with him, then the semen which he has released, she did not keep it inside her. She went and released it on this sarastamba, this one type of grass. And it is from that Skanda was born. This Lord Shiva's son who has 6 faces. Shanmukh, he is called Shanmukh. He has 6 heads. So he was born from that. So therefore he is also sometimes called as son of fire. And sometimes he is called son of Kritika because his name is Kartikeya, because there are 6 Kritikas. They came and they accepted him as the son. He was born there. And therefore he got the name Kartikeya. And although there were 7 sages, but there are only 6 had to him, because once he was not able to what you call duplicate or replicate, so he was not able to take the form of Arundhati. So fire has therefore united only 6 times, and therefore Kartikeya is called Shanmukha. Kartikeya is also called Shanamathura, who has 6 mothers, because of these 6 Kritikas, who are probably manifestations of Agni's wife herself. And then this Kartikeya is the one who then fought, and he became the Senapati or army chief for the Devas.
What about the Shiva is the father of Kartikeya?
Yeah, that is, I don't remember the whole story, but there is some link of Parvati getting involved in it.
It's in
Story is there in
Kumara
Bhagavatam.
Sambhava.
Yeah, the story is there in Mahabharata. It's a long story given in Mahabharata. That's how I remember. But how he became son of Lord Shiva, that I don't remember. Maybe these Kritikas, then they came to Parvati and gave the son to Parvati.
Shiva was. There is some connection to Agni in there, but Shiva had relationships with Parvati, but he also spilled the semen rather than putting it. Yeah,
there is some relation of fire god with Shiva also. And that story I don't remember. I read it
Another Purana dictionary.
So Saptarishi नाम सत्रे रमेत्वा च तद्रेतः सुखिरूपेण सरस्तंभे निधाय गच्छत् ताम यथा सप्तऋषि भार्या भ्रांत्या अग्नि कामितवान तद्वत्. So just as at that time fire has desired to unite with this Sukhi, thinking that she is the wife of one of the sages, like that she desired to unite with the bride of Barhishat because she was so beautiful. So this is the story described there. Nobody gives any more detail on that. And Stukimiva iti pathetu stoke dhrit dharamiva ityartha. Instead of Suki, there is also a different reading which says Stuki. And Stuki means that flow of ghee. And just as fire desires that ghee is poured into it, then fire is very happy. Like that she desired. That could be another. Vivadha Gandharva Muni Siddhanaro Ragaha Vijitaha Surya Dikshu Kwanante Nipuraihi. Says that this girl was so beautiful that everybody was attracted by her. The Devas, Asuras, Gandharvas, Munis, Siddhas, and even the Uragas, the snakes. Whoever heard the walk of this girl, she was only walking, Nupur is the ankle bells. So just by hearing the ankle bells, Konantya Nupurai, they all were conquered by her. That was the beauty of this girl. Suryaya Navodhyayeva Vijitaha Tacha Nupura Padav Kodantyayeva Dhvanimatranayeva Natu Tam Kepi Drashtum Sekurati Bhav. He says that they got attracted only by the sound. They were not even able to see her. And even when she was just recently married, because then she was dressed nicely and walked with the bells. So this is what happened. How they got attracted just by the sound, I don't know. Just until then. Some kind of jingle bell, jingle bell. प्राचीन वरिष्ठ पुत्र सतद्रुत्याम दशा भवन तुल्य नाम व्रतः सर्वे धर्म स्नाता प्रचेतसा. प्राचीन Bari had 10 sons in Satadruti, and they all had one name. They all appeared similar, all had same character, and their names were Prachetas. Means they were highly enlightened people. So all of them always together, all 10 brothers, and had same nature, same character, same desire, just moved around all the time together. So therefore there was no need to give them separate name, because if you called one, then 10 came. Because they didn't want to separate from each other. Except maybe when they have to go to bathroom. Pitra dishta praja sarge tapse arnavamaadishan 10 varsh sahasrani tapsa archas tapas patim. So then the father, when they grew up, then the father ordered them that you have to produce, create some children. Otherwise people will think that you are gay. And together, what is this? Right? If the 10 guys are always together, but people in America will think that they must be part of some gay society. So the father said that, please, I request that now you get married. So they did not want to marry just like that and produce children. They said that first we should control our mind, and then we should unite with our wives only for the sake of producing children. So in the history here, when we read, we always see this, that Kardama Muni also did the same thing when he was asked. Atri was doing that. So previously, producing children was not a byproduct of sexual union with the wife. It was actually a great service to the society to produce a qualified human being, to bring somebody to the society who will not create nonsense here. And this is only possible if the consciousness of the person is divine. If one is only interested in enjoying, then the product will also be like that. Because according to Ayurveda, also according to the Smriti Shastras, the consciousness of the child is influenced by the consciousness of the parent at the time of the union. So therefore Prachetas, they did austerities for 10,000 years just to produce children. Now we chant for a few years and we think we have not made much progress, there must be something wrong. So for 10,000 years they entered inside the ocean, not even breathing, no eating, and no going to bathroom. What can you do inside the water? So for 10,000 years they stood inside the ocean chanting the mantra given by Rudra, which we will see later. worshipping Lord Hari. Tapasya archas tapas tapas. The master of the austerities, which is Lord Hari or Krishna, they worshipped him. So that the idea is that when a man unites or a woman unites, they unite together, then you cannot control the mind. That is the most difficult time to control your mind and fix on God. So that's why they were doing such intense tapasya that even at such a moment, your mind should not become deviated by pleasure or anything else. So you can understand the amount of control they must have had. And why it was described that Satudruti was so beautiful that even fire god was attracted. What is their fire god? He is just burning there. This is to show that this Barisad was also such a great person that he was not lost. Therefore he was able to produce 10 sons who were so nice. That when they were asked to produce children, they went for doing austerity. This is not possible if they were not also produced by the father with this intention to make them devotees. So that means Prachin Barhi, because earlier it was said that he was expert in Kriya Kanda and Yoga. Kriya Kandesu Nishnato Yogesu cha Kurudvaha. That he was very expert in Kriya Kanda and Yoga. That means he also had control over his mind. Although he was doing all these yagyas. And so much control over the mind, and that's why he was able to produce such devotional children. So all these stories, ultimately they inform us about devotion to Krishna. Because such control is not possible by any other means. We also see other stories like Sabri Muni, who also entered inside the Yamuna river, and he was also doing tapasya. But he was distracted because he was a yogi and not a devotee. So this is just to give the contrast that how mind has to be controlled by surrender to God. And then only you can do your duties properly. Even duty of producing the son can be done properly only if one is a devotee. This is actually the meaning behind the stories. Yaduktam pati drishtena girishena prasidata tadhyayanto japantascha pujiyantascha sanyataha. So how did they perform austerities? Says they performed austerities by chanting the prayers which were instructed by Girish, Lord Shiva, whom they met on the way and who was very pleased on them. So through that prayer they meditated on Lord Hari, Dhyanto. They chanted the prayer like a mantra and Pujayanta, and they worshipped the Lord Sanyataha, completely controlled in their mind, in their senses, in their speech, everything. So such intense control they had. Tapsampatim Harim Archan Archayamasu. So they worshipped Lord Hari. Kidrishaha, in what way they did it? Yaduktam Girishena Tadeva Dhyayanta. That what was spoken by Lord Shiva, that's what they meditated. So Lord Shiva speaks about Lord Vishnu, so they meditated on him. Yat raho rahasyam pritesan vacha avidhaya eva ah. So which was spoken by Shiva as a secret, being pleased and out of great affection. That's what they meditated upon. So in the upcoming verses, then Vidura will ask this question that where did they meet Shiva? And then Maitreya will explain the meeting between Lord Shiva and the Prachetas. And then Lord Shiva's instructions to Prachetas. So that we'll read in the upcoming verses. there is any question on this. Got the story?
Yep. Want to hear?
Yeah.
I'll skip the first part. And this is the Tarakasura was the demon.
Yeah,
So the
Tarakasura. Tarakasura could be killed only by son of Lord Shiva.
So Tarakasura as a child began practicing penance, and Brahma duly appeared before him and granted him the boon that if he were to die, he would die at the hands of a child only 7 days old. Haughty over the boon, Tarakasura very soon conquered the 3 worlds. The Devas found no means to suppress the Asura. Children would not be born to them, and there was a reason for it. Once Shiva and Parvati started the marital act, and it did not come to a close even after 100 Divya years, with the result that the world shook like anything. Frightened at this, the Devas requested Shiva to stop the act, and he obliged them. Then he asked them who would bear the semen which had been discharged, and they replied, "Let the earth itself bear the semen." Accordingly, it was discharged on the earth. It filled and overflowed forests and mountains. What next was the problem? Ultimately, the Devas asked Agni, fire, to consume it. When Agni consumed and burnt it down absolutely, the ashes thereof formed into a white hill, and it became a forest. Parvati did not at all relish the actions of the Devas, and spoke to them thus, "You prevented my sexual intercourse, entered into with the desire to have a son. Therefore in future you will not have children by your wives." Parvati cursed the earth also as follows, "You will become one of the various forms, and also a wife to many people. You who prevented me from having a son will not enjoy happiness from children." That's from Valmiki Ramayana, Balakanda, Canto 36. Tarakasura could be killed only by a child, not more than, so that's the connection, one connection with Agni. This is one way the story is told. Tarakasura could be killed only by a child, and not more than 7 days old, and the Devas realized that such a child could be begot only by Shiva. It was the occasion when Shiva was lamenting over the death of Sati, and Parvati was doing penance to secure Shiva as a husband. None could stir Shiva, immersed in deep meditation, and the Devas entrusted the responsibility for it to Kamadev. Not only did Kama not succeed in the endeavor, but he also got reduced to ashes by the fire from Shiva's eyes. When Parvati's penance reached its climax, Shiva appeared before her and wedded her. Because of the power of Shiva's semen consumed by Agni, his glow began getting diminished. Agni complained of it to the Devas, who sent him over to Brahma. On his way to Brahma, Agni met Ganga Devi, whom he told thus, "I can in no way bear this semen of Shiva, and if I get rid of it, it will burn the entire world. So you please take charge of it, so that you will have a noble son." Ganga's reply to this was to simply ask Agni to throw the semen into her waters, and Agni did so. As the semen had remained with Agni for nearly 5,000 years, his flesh, blood, hair, and eye, etc. had become golden in color, and hence Agni came to be known from that day onwards as Hiranyaretas. Time passed by and the semen of Shiva became a burden to Ganga. She complained about that to Brahma. Brahma asked her from whom she had received it, and Ganga told her story to him, and he concluded by saying that though it was 5,000 years since Shiva's semen was put into her, she did not yet deliver. Then Brahma told her as follows, "You go to the Uday mountain where the sun rises. There is a forest there, hundreds of crores of yojanas in extent, where shara, a particular variety of grass, grows. You deposit the semen there, and a male child will be born after 10,000 years." So, as directed by Brahma, this is Tarakasura had a lot of leeway there. The child was only going to be 7 days old, but it took 20,000 years to get to the birth. By the power of Shiva's semen, all the trees and animals and birds in the forest became golden in color. When 10,000 years were completed, a child, as effulgent as the rising sun, was born, and Subramanya was the child. The child cried in a thunderous voice, and 6 divine Kritikas came that way, saw the child, and taking pity on it, vied with one another to breastfeed it. Since the child looked at the 6 Kritikas, one after the other, it developed 6 faces, and since it was breastfed by the Kritikas, it came to be named Kartikeya as well. So there's some more, but that doesn't sound like that story from the Bhagavatam that you were reading. Where was that from?
This is in Mahabharata. I remember this.
Okay.
And what is this reference?
Okay. Any other question? Or will we stop?
Looks like a bit interesting story.
There's another version also. The one that from the Kumara Sambhava is different also.
But this Saptarshi story I know is from Mahabharata.